What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
Great. Thank you for asking. We have a house, not full, but we lost a few little boys here. Yeah. You know, little boys are really cool.
Yeah.
Like the way they play compared to little girls is totally different.
Yeah.
They're more animated.
How do girls play?
We're sweet. We play dolls. We play house.
And you start gossiping
But
and shit.
It's just different. Like listening to the boys, play Transformers. Like it seems like they have a bigger imagination.
You guys are playing Barbies. Like, have you seen Ken? No. I wonder where Ken's at.
Right?
Where the boys are just playing Transformers.
It's like we're playing life.
Yeah.
Right? And boys play imagination.
Make shit up.
Yeah. And it just seems way more fun. Like when they were having the Nerf war.
That's funny because you really like dolls and all that shit.
I do. I love dolls. And I still do. Like, we'll go to the store and he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're like in the toy section.
I love baby
it's so
dolls.
Cute. I'm like, fucking relax.
I love baby dolls. I do. I love baby dolls. I feel like I went from playing dolls to boys.
Oh, jeez.
Because I was playing dolls.
Hold on. Let me get to that part of the sound effects board.
I remember playing with dolls like when I was 14. I was still playing with dolls,
And then?
And then I ended up switching to boys. But I still played with dolls even then.
Yeah.
And I still have I have two dolls that I had when I was little that Audrey gets to not play with anymore.
So they're not hers. They're not hers.
They're mine.
They're yours.
I let her borrow them.
You let her play with your dolls. Real nice. It's like my tools. It's like, look, you can use my tools, but they're not your tools. They're my tools. But in your case, it's dolls.
Yeah.
That's
and it's funny because here they are. They're little, the girls playing dolls, playing house, and they're playing
like for real
life. It's like, okay, you're the daddy. Like if Joey's playing with Audrey, you're the daddy. I'm the mommy. Changing the baby's didiper, changing the doll.
That. Why would you want to play that?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't sound like fun.
That sounds like a bunch of work.
Right? But
that's not even the fun part of being a parent. Changing the shit diapers. Oh, he threw up on me. That's not fun.
Yeah.
You don't want to you want to watch him crawl.
Or the baby's
smile.
hungry. So the baby starts to cry. And now you got to feed the baby.
Oh, man.
Oh,
yeah,
crap.
I know where you're going.
Remember.
I know where you're going.
Yeah?
Yeah, do it.
What?
Wait.
Where am I going? No, tell me.
Okay, let's see if I got
dude.
So,
yes?
was it when we had the kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
See,
this is how you know, like when you're just connected to your significant other.
So a while back, we had our niece and our nephews living with us.
Yes.
And our niece was going through a program. What was it? Was it home ec or something like that?
Yeah, because through home ec they have this.
It's like a part of that curriculum or whatever where you take home. It's pretty much it's a doll.
It's a doll. Some
that,
people use eggs.
Yeah, but
schools.
But the thing is that the doll, it cries, it shits, it pees.
It's monitored as well.
Yes,
it's being monitored by
it's for school. So like they can tell if you've neglected the baby and all that kind of shit. So she comes home excited with her new doll.
Yes.
And
how old was she? Like 15, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Like and you had to keep it was like over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So the first night or the next morning, it was like this thing would not shut up all night.
She got tired of it.
Night. It was crying and had to change it and all this shit.
Yes.
So it was one of the other nights
that
I went into the garage for something. And let's say it's quiet in the garage.
Yeah.
But I'm like hearing something kind of creepy. I'm like, is there a fucking dying baby in our garage or what the hell's going on here? And
Nikki, we're putting you on blast, Nikki.
I found the baby in the trunk of our car.
In my trunk.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember. And she was just like, I am not getting any sleep. This doll won't stop crying. I'm like, that they're going to realize that this baby, because it's being monitored. So I wonder if she failed. I
don't know. We got to ask her.
Yeah.
We'll ask her. We'll find out. Well, she can let us know.
Yeah.
She could call in 480-912-5128. You can call us and let us know.
No.
But no. But you know what? That's not a good example for, I mean, I guess it is good for kids, like to keep them up all night and really understand, like, oh, baby's cute. Yeah. Not so cute at 3 o'clock in the morning when you fed them, when you've changed them, and they still, but you know, when you're a young kid and you're impatient, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And now she has 2 babies.
Yes. And
she's
she
a
is
great
an amazing mother.
Right?
Yes. Even though she put that doll in the trunk.
Yeah. The kids are safe, growing, beautiful babies.
Actually, we have one here, and he
one.
is so adorable. He is just the cutest thing ever. But that goes to show, no, I think that was a great program. Because imagine, you know, back in the day, times are changing. Because back in the day, you would hear these young girls getting pregnant at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't hear that much today, or maybe it's because we live in a different neighborhood today than what we did. But it seems like the kids today, the millennials, they're waiting. They're waiting. Yeah, they're waiting, which is great.
Even some people our age are waiting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they be 35, 30 something, and they're still like, well, you know, one of these days, maybe I'll have a kid.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's okay. I had my first when I was 31. You're fine. And that's why our kids are growing up with my niece's kids.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just how,
they're
how it works.
Close to the same age.
But yeah, today the millennials are waiting, which is really good because our planet needs that.
Yes.
Right? What movie was that we were watching?
That was it was a documentary by David Attenborough.
Okay. Yeah.
So are we going to do that?
Well, I'm just saying it's good for the planet Earth for us to
drive
stop.
Me insane, babe.
But it goes within that discussion. It's not like I'm like going from one subject to another. It ties in very good.
I thought we were gonna. So this is 2 podcasts in a row. You know what? And you know what? So we're recording this early because you guys are getting an extra podcast this week. But so we haven't even seen the last one yet. The last one that you guys probably have listened to, and Sonja hasn't seen it yet either because it hasn't come out. It's coming out today. And we were talking about on the last podcast how before we started recording, we're like,
you're always talking
all right,
shit.
What are we going to talk about? And it's like, okay, we're going to talk about this. And then as soon as we start going, you go off on a tangent. And I'm like, what the hell? And then before this podcast, you're telling me about another podcast, promoting other podcasts on our podcast, which is
we're
not
talk
cool.
About.
I'm just kidding.
It is.
No, I'm just kidding. But you were telling me about this podcast that you really like, that you're into. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's talk about it on the podcast. And then boom, we start going into the kids and all this other stuff.
Well, because whatever's on my heart, that's what I'm going to share first. But I am still, I know you are. Stop giving me shit.
Really? All right. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So do you want to talk about that?
No, whatever you want. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, well, let's talk about it because we watched that together.
So
because they're probably thinking, what the hell is she talking about?
So the documentary was David Attenborough, A Life on Planet Earth. It's a Netflix documentary. That is a must watch, I think.
Yes.
Man, it was so eye opening, and it's all about the planet and
how we are destroying it.
Yeah, but I don't know if people want to really watch just how we're destroying. Like it's pretty much about his career. So if you've watched any of the Netflix documentaries, like the nature ones, most of them are narrated by David Attenborough. And his whole life was dedicated to nature and, documenting it, like how our planet is and all. He's traveled all over the world and seen all kinds of different things, but he's 90 something now, 92, 93. So in his lifetime, he's kind of seen how the planet has changed.
Yes.
And how we're destroying the planet.
Yes. It's an eye opener. I mean, it has us thinking different. And what can we do to help save the planet?
Well, I don't want to leave it like that because it did. I'll say like it got sad in the documentary for a little bit. Yeah. Like halfway through the documentary, you're just like, wow, this is so bad.
Yeah.
But he ends up turning it all around.
And we watched it with the kids.
Yeah.
And I remember Audrey looking at the numbers of the population or how long we have until the earth just.
Yeah. It's not, well, the good thing is that it's not all bad. Like we still have an opportunity to fix things.
Yeah.
And humans are smart. Like the shit that we come up with, if that's what our focus becomes, I think we can
But
do
it's
something.
us taking ownership, like every individual taking ownership and responsibility for saving the planet. Like you and I can't save the planet.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's us coming together.
Yeah. Yeah. Another.
The human race coming together to save our planet.
Yeah.
You know, and he talks about like the forest.
Yeah.
You know, and
just
how
chopping
we're-
down the rainforest for the
Yes.
trees and
build, you know, because the population, we're growing so fast. Like we're the fastest species, right?
Yeah. And we don't have any predators.
We're overpopulated, and you know we all need somewhere to live.
We need food, all that stuff.
Yes, and it was really cool how he give us other, because I'm trying to didn't he give us examples of other ways how we can grow our food?
Yeah, there was some examples of
It was
kind of like a
huge warehouse or something like that where they were growing their vegetables instead of using additional land, right?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it that?
it
Was it that by? Because we watched so many
So that
nature shows.
I don't know
and
if it was in that one
documentaries.
or if that was in Down to Earth. That's another really
Okay.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember both of them. Definitely watch both of them. Down to Earth and David Attenborough.
You know, and
A
how
Life
to
on Planet Earth.
recycle. Like, there's so many things that we throw away that we can probably fix and sell and reuse.
Well, the biggest thing that stuck out to me. So if you guys, there's another show. I think it's an HBO show. It might be just called Chernobyl. Or if you look up HBO show Chernobyl, it'll come up. And it's about the disaster of the nuclear reactor that melted down
yes.
in Chernobyl. And it kind of all ties together, even with the David Attenborough, because it's one of these things where he's explaining, like, we are doing this to our planet.
yeah.
You know, like, we're destroying everything. And the Chernobyl was a perfect example of people, like, it's similar to the Challenger. Remember the Challenger documentary that we watched about the space shuttle? It's like you keep pushing and nothing happens, and you keep pushing and nothing happens, and you keep pushing, and eventually you get comfortable with not having any consequences for making the wrong decisions. And then you make that one decision that you don't recover from. And Chernobyl back in the 80s had a nuclear power plant, and it melted down and destroyed the entire area, where they had to evacuate everybody within 48 hours. Like, imagine wherever you live. And this wasn't like people living out in the sticks.
It was like 48
or in the
hours.
No. But I'm saying this wasn't like people living out in the sticks or in the middle of nowhere.
No.
This was a city with buildings and apartments. And in 48 hours, everybody had to leave, because if not, you were going to die.
Right.
And we did it to ourselves. And that place still hasn't, like, people still don't live there today. But they're saying that because everybody's left, things are starting to grow. Like, animals are starting to come back into that area.
Plants, trees. Yeah.
And one of the things that was huge, I don't know if it was that documentary or the Down to Earth one with Zac Efron, but it's pretty much like the planet, like Earth, is going to be okay.
Yes.
No matter what,
Yep.
we could destroy everything and we could kill ourselves.
Right.
But there will still be life on this planet, unless it gets wiped out by a meteor or something like that. But we can wipe ourselves out, but little living things will keep growing.
Yes.
And when we've destroyed everything, it'll slowly start to come back, and we won't be here for that.
See, and just thinking about all of that, to me, is a miracle.
It's crazy, right?
That's God. That's energy. That's God.
Yeah.
You know, when people ask me, you know, what is your belief?
That is pretty amazing.
It's very hard to put it together, but for me, that is God.
Yeah. And the other thing that they were saying is that we are the only species that destroys the planet.
Yeah.
Like, all the other, like, they're kind of in like a balance
habitat. Yeah.
with the planet. Like, they eat but I mean, we're different.
Yeah.
We're a different level animal than anything else.
Yep. He talked about all the different
Crazy.
species of fish that we once had that are no longer around because, you know, of us.
Yeah. The reefs, how the reefs are, you know, destroying, like how it gives so much life to the ocean. Like, so much life is created in the reefs, and then it spreads out to the rest of the ocean, but we're destroying the reefs. So we have less and less fish, and less fish have a place to breed and, you know, grow and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yep.
Definitely watch it for yourselves, because it is so eye-opening that, like, I've never been, you know, like, I'll do kind of what I can. Like, I know, okay, I should recycle this. I'm going to throw it over here. but not really like into it. And it's like, well, you know what? What if we could do something? Like, even if it's the smallest thing, maybe it's not super, you know, and you know what? Maybe it turns into something else later. But let's look into what is the proper way to dispose of batteries, to get rid of your ink cartridges, to get rid of your cell phones. Because we all know you're not supposed to just throw your cell phone, you know, like break it till you can't use it anymore and then just throw it away. There's a lot of precious metals and things in there that shouldn't go in the trash.
Right.
You know, so even little things like trying to figure out what to do with it. We're saying like we're going to turn into fucking hippies, right?
I know. Well, I was a hippie before you.
I don't know.
I try to move you in that.
What's your saying?
I try to move you.
What's your saying?
A little bit of hippie and a whole lot of hood.
That's Sonia. That's definitely
reversed
a t-shirt.
Now. It's reversed for me.
Now it's more hippie than
more
hood.
hippie than hood.
Yeah, you don't want to find that hood side.
Yeah. But that hood side hasn't came out in a long time.
No, I haven't seen it in forever. It's probably been about, you want me to explain the last time I saw it? No, yeah. I'm just kidding.
When was the last time? Can you remember?
Probably on our first date.
Oh my God. Yeah. But that was not me.
I know, I'm just kidding.
That was not me, right? Like Sonia, I didn't initiate.
Scraps and
I
stuff.
didn't initiate that.
I'm just messing with you.
Family.
Slap boxing.
Oh no.
Oh my God. So, but yeah, no, definitely watch them. They are really good.
Yeah. Very eye-opening. And like I said, if we all come together and just do a little bit of something, we can change and save our planet Earth.
You're right.
Love and hearts to everyone.
And you know what? We'll look up some stuff and little things that we're doing.
Yep.
And little things that maybe you guys can use.
We talk to the kids.
Well, we can talk about it here too.
And our kids are pretty good about that. Like Joey, if you're littering, he will totally call you out.
Yeah.
Like he will call you out.
You know what's weird? Like growing up in New York, New York has, I think it's cleaned up quite a bit. But I remember like, it was like just throwing trash in the street was like you eat something, throw the wrapper on the floor, on the ground. It's like no big deal.
Yeah, you don't think about it. You just don't think about it.
It's crazy.
But it's crazy to think about. I mean, my family, my mom, I mean, no one talked to me about recycling or the planet or, the earth and what we can do to save the earth. Like I don't remember having that conversation.
Yeah.
And I've had that conversation with the kids, but I think that it should be more.
Yeah.
Of a discussion, like we talk about it more, like it's something that we just
we revisit every once in a while.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I've talked to them here and there about different things and
yeah.
Or more like wasting things and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So Miguel and I, is there anything you want to
go for?
Okay. So Miguel and I have been looking at different ways to invest because we will be writing a book one day regarding, what works, what doesn't work. And we're talking about just being diversified, whether it's real estate, investments.
We'll be diversified.
Bank on yourself. Ooh. Just different ways where you can set up a retirement plan because we plan on retiring sooner than later, depending on how everything works. And when I say retiring, I don't mean like we stop working 100% because I love what I do. The podcast I love. This is a whole lot of fun, and so I don't plan on stopping this.
Retirement for me is like not working for somebody. It's like me doing what I want to do.
Job. Yeah.
But because this for me is not like, I mean, it is work, but it's work that I enjoy and it's for us. It's us. Yeah. It's our thing.
So I've been reading, this book called Bank on Yourself. We talked to our investor. Love him. Sue Paul. He was on one of our episodes.
One of the first Corona ones.
Best dude like ever. Very open, very honest, very humble.
Yeah.
And because I had such a bad experience in the past with an investor and losing a whole lot of money, it took me forever to start looking back into investing.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to different podcasts regarding money because I want to make sure that, we are educated on money and different ways on how to invest. So I started listening to this podcast, Afford Anything. And the woman Paula, she is huge in real estate, and then the partner is huge in investing. So she does like multi-units, not very big. She has like 7 different properties, but it's so cool because she dumbs it down, and I need that. Like, dumb it down so that I can understand. And so she just shares her story and how she went about doing it. And holy smokes, I wish I would have thought about this or, listened to her podcast previously when I was thinking of buying a home, because you know what she did?
What'd she do?
Her first purchase was a tri-unit. What do they call it?
Triplex?
A triplex. It was a triplex. And the reason why she did the triplex was because she could actually, when she went to finance that, they put it down as a primary residence. So she got the interest rate for a primary residence, which is a lower interest rate if it's an investment property, because she was going to live in one of the units and then rent out the other 2. And not only that, but the unit that she went into, she was young. So she had a roommate living in with her, so it was, could you imagine?
So because she was living in it, you have more benefits if it's your residence than if it was an investment property that you didn't live in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she moved out of that,
then she collected all of it.
Yeah. And it was basically paying for her second property. And that's how she built her real estate portfolio.
Nice.
So I'm like, damn, that's a really good idea. Afford anything.
And that's the thing is, like, a lot of this stuff, like we've talked about before, if you want to learn about money, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be whatever, whatever it is that you want to get into, I mean, well, first of all, there's kind of like that gut feeling that you have with money. Like, you shouldn't spend or buy on credit. You're supposed to save some of your money. Like, that's the most basic thing. Like with health, like, you're not supposed to eat all the processed shit. Like, eat more vegetables, eat more, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the start. But if you want to get more into it, there's stuff out there. There's stuff on YouTube. There's podcasts about it.
Yes.
And that's the free stuff. I mean, you could buy audio books and sign up for courses. But if you want the information, it's
out
there.
Yeah. And so she had a guest on there, and his name is, hold on, give me a second. Tom Corles.
Tom Corles?
Tom Corles. Corles.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were talking about how, and it was, the name of this episode was Billionaire to Broke.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so they had Tom on there sharing his story, and his father was the one who was the billionaire. He owned one of the largest distributors, a tool distributor in the East Coast. And, they were doing really great. And then his partner passed away at the age of 34.
Damn.
From a heart attack. And so his partner was the one who would do all the sales and all the marketing. And Tom's dad was just the businessman. And he knew that he couldn't do what his partner did. So he made a decision to sell the company.
Yeah.
Well, before he sold it, he had, his lawyers come up, with this contract. And in the contract, it stated that if the buyer were to default on the loan, that he would get the company right back.
Yeah.
And so a year later, that's what happened. He ended up with the company, and mysteriously, when that happened, the other party wasn't too excited about that. And mysteriously, the factory burnt down, like completely burnt down.
Yeah.
And so when, they started doing investigation and all this other stuff, he found out that the inventory that they had in there was all on credit. So he owed $4 million to vendors.
Yeah. For all the stuff he had in his warehouse.
Yeah. So when he started looking into the insurance policy, which was supposed to be in place,
there wasn't.
Damn. So he went from having all this money to almost broke, especially when he made the decision to pay off his vendors.
Yeah. Like everything was over. The company was done.
Yes. And he paid that $4 million to his vendors. And his son, after going through all this, asked him if he would have done anything different because they were broke. Like
pretty
their
much
house was
asking-
going into foreclosure.
Like
and
pretty
all
much
this.
asking if he would have kept the money instead of paying
his
the
vendors. And he said no. He's like, these vendors, you know, they have families. He's like, and it's my responsibility to take care of them. And his son said the one thing that his dad always was great at was building rapport. Like he always put people before himself.
Yeah.
And he said that his dad, towards the end of his life, like he was able to build himself up, you know, to you know, a millionaire, not a billionaire, but you know, he ended up recuperating from all of that. But during the hard times when their home was going into foreclosure, people that he once helped were helping them as a family.
Yeah.
And he said the one thing that I remember is that our family stuck together and we knew what hard work was and looked like because of our father. So we all stepped in and started doing what we had to do, whether it was, you know,
cool.
working a newspaper route or whatever it was. They knew what hard work looked like and they all went to work.
Yeah.
And they survived it.
So that kind of reminds me, like when we talk about the kids, you know, like working hard. I don't know if anybody really talked to me about working hard.
No,
I don't think I ever like
neither.
got sat down and been like, look, life is going to be work. You're going to have to work hard if you want to. I don't think anybody ever talked to me. Like, I know we've talked to the kids about this stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. Like me personally, sometimes I feel like maybe I could do more. And I remember listening to this podcast. It was a Joe Rogan podcast with this comedian, Jim Norton. And he's a successful comedian. And I remember him telling Joe Rogan, he's like, sometimes I feel like I'm lazy or like I don't do what I should do or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I kind of feel similar to the way he feels. And then Joe Rogan's like, where are you going after you leave here? He's like, oh, I got to go do an interview at a radio station. And then after that, I'm going to be going to the stand-up place and I'm going to do a couple sets there. And then I'm going to another. And he's like, dude, like you're working all the time. Like, how do you feel that? And then I was like, kind of like, I thought about it. I'm like, shit, I'm always doing something.
But maybe it doesn't feel like work to you because you're enjoying what you do. So,
but the truth is that you do work. But I was just kind of thinking, I feel that way sometimes, but I don't remember anybody talking to me as a kid about it. I just remember seeing people working. Like my grandmother was working during the day. My grandfather, I would go to his job, be taken home, grab something to eat, and then drive back into the city to go clean office buildings.
Yes.
And I would be there and I would work. You know, so as a kid, it was just like, this is what we do.
Yeah. It's seeing it. It's seeing it. Because the same, you know, with my mom, like I saw what the lack of education can do. You know, like she was a cashier and she did good, but there were times where she had one job, two jobs, and sometimes she had 0 jobs and we were living off, you know, welfare, you know, but so I saw every aspect of, okay, what does hard work look like, you know, and then living in poverty and just feeling all the emotion that filled the house when there was no money and seeing my mom looking under the cushions for change at a very young age and realizing that we were broke and how scary that made me feel. Like there was no security there, you know?
But part of it is also, it's not just working hard because you gotta make the right decisions also. There's a lot of people that work really hard, but when they're done with work, they don't make the best decisions with what they got from their work.
Yes.
You know, and yeah, but it's a combination of both. But what do you think about the kids? Like, is it because we've talked about like how we are super busy working and doing all kinds of different stuff, and like sometimes it feels like maybe we should slow, because I think the thought was like when the kids get older, they're gonna look back and be like, mom and dad were working all the time. You know. But at the same time, that's how we grew up and that's how we learned work ethic.
No.
Right?
Yeah. They're going to, no, especially like with me now that it took me forever
with the business,
to be able
with
to
trusting.
say no to work, like say no, you know, because I was that person who would go. And when the kids were younger, I mean, you were the one putting them to sleep because I was focused on building this business. Right. And so today the kids see, mom works, but when it's our time, she's with us. You know, at least I feel that way, you know, today. Yeah. You know, and when we interviewed the kids on one of our podcasts, we didn't share the entire episode because it was just they're too young, you know. But you know, when you asked Joey, "What's mommy good at?" he said, "Her work, jumping and swimming."
Yeah, running and jumping.
I'm like, what the hell?
Her work, running and jumping.
I'm a Mexican, man. Those are the things that I'm good at. But
work, running, and jumping and swimming.
You know, when he said work, I'm like, ah. But before that, you would tug at my heart. But because I know, like, I spend quality time with them. You know, like I play with them, I talk to them. Like the time we have with them, it's with them.
Yeah,
we don't mix in business with family.
Well, and this is something that I've mentioned this on the podcast before, and one of our mentors told us, like, when it comes to changing your family's legacy, there is always that one generation that has to sacrifice.
Yes.
They sacrifice so that the future generations can have something different.
Yes.
You know, and that a lot of times is like, and that was his case. You know, he was like, yeah, I know we talk about the money and all the benefits. He's like, but in order to change things forever, he's like, I have to sacrifice. He's like, I'm sacrificing for my future generations. He's like, and that's where you guys are at.
Yeah.
You know?
And there was...
But at the same time, like, how do you change everything? It's such a hard balance. Like, to want to give them something different, but to still have the drive that you get from growing up the way we grew up.
And keeping them humble.
Because they're not... Yes. Yeah. I think
it's what it all starts with us. It all starts with us. You know, the other day, Miguel, I think you had brought it up. Like you wanted to do something for the neighbors next door.
Yeah.
And you were thinking of, you know, well, maybe we can make them Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm thinking, well, hey, why don't I make them enchiladas? Like this is something we could do now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
You know, and the kids... you know, they saw me cooking.
They thought it was dinner.
Yeah, they thought,
we're like, yeah,
you guys have no dinner.
Else, dinner for somebody else. They're going to be eating better than us tonight.
Yeah, so we made enchiladas and rice, and Joey went with us to take them, you know, to the neighbors next door. You know, they see that we also give back. You know, with the whole coronavirus, we could do more. I mean, Yeah. And we don't talk about this. We don't put it on social media. Like, look at us. I know, but we're talking about how you lead by example.
Yeah.
You know, we bought stuff at Costco. You know, we went driving, you know, to a shelter to give it out to the homeless. The kids seen it. They were there. Audrey saw when I would go and I would do speaking engagements.
It's having them still connected to the real world.
Right.
Like to what's out there.
Right.
Because if living the way we live, this is the real world, but it's not the real world for everybody.
Right.
You know?
But we also showed them that hard work can change things.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. You know, hard work and determination can change things.
Yeah.
Because living in the neighborhood that we live in today changed a whole lot of things for them. And for myself as well. I mean, it was a big change because I was used to living in, you know, I was used to the environment that I was living in. Not saying that we're better or it's just, it's different. It's different. And it was a little bit uncomfortable when we moved here because it's different here. Let's talk about the parties, okay? Over there, we lived in, Phoenix, Arizona, near South Phoenix. How do you want to, you know? And so,
whatever, babe.
I mean, our parties are parties. I mean, we have a kid party and it's like the adult parties as well. Like we're having beer.
It's an excuse for adults to party.
Exactly. You know, and when we had parties over there, if we invited your kid, the entire family was coming.
Yeah.
You weren't just dropping off your kids because us would be like, excuse me? This isn't a daycare.
Like, we're not babysitting.
Yeah. You better get your butt over here with your kids.
It's like, hey, we can't babysit because we're all getting fucked up.
And when we moved here, okay, so Adriana was invited to her first party here. And I looked at the invitation and it said Audrey, but it didn't have Joey's name. It didn't have the family's name.
Nope.
So I show
Audrey,
up. Yeah.
2:30 to 4:30.
I'm like, wait, what? 2 hours? What the heck? So I go with Adriana, and I don't know if you were doing something with Joey, but I go with Adriana. I didn't take Joey with me, but I'm like, hey, we're here kind of deal, you know? And she's like, you can be back to pick her up, in 2 hours. And I'm looking at her like, I don't know you, and you're asking me to leave my kid with you? Kind of deal,
Yeah.
So there were some adjustments that we had to make.
And then at 4:30, the door opens and everybody's walking out.
Yes, it's insane. And she's like, yeah, go get your nails done, or take this time for you. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay. I think
what am I supposed to do with myself now?
I think I like this. This is kind of cool,
Right?
So no, living
it's just
here, took some adjusting. And it's been good.
It's been good.
It's been good. But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, just being able, this gentleman ended up rebuilding his empire, not to a billionaire, but a millionaire. And it seems that if you know how to grow wealth, it's something that you can regrow. But imagine going from having everything to having nothing.
Yeah.
And surviving it, like pulling together and surviving it and being able to share your story. How many people could survive that?
Yeah. No, it seems like the people that, I guess if you do it the right way, when things happen, they've done it before, they can do it again, because they've had that experience. That happens.
Having the self-discipline and the work ethic and the hustle. Because that's what it is. It's the hustle.
That's what I want. I want the kids to have, I want them to work. But then there are times when you have to understand, it's time to work. Now is not the time to fuck around and talk and try to contemplate. How are we going to do? No, just pick the shit up and start moving stuff. Yeah. Start doing something. Stop. Just stop talking so much and get to fucking work.
Right. And it's hard. It is. It's hard.
You got to have that.
Just this week, Miguel's leaving out of town, and we had to record 2 podcasts. We had a very small get together for Joey. It was just one thing after another, after another, after another. And I'm like, I just want to sit here. This morning, I just want to sit here and watch a movie. And it's like, you're like, come on, we got to go. And I'm like,
it is what it is.
But it is what it is. And it's like, I can't give you shit, because I see how hard you're working and vice versa. You have my back, I have your back. Okay, suck it up, Sonia. Let's get it together, get dressed, and let's go do this thing, because this is what we do. This is what we do.
There's something that we're going to revisit, because right now, we'll revisit this in a couple weeks, because right now we're in the middle of this class that I'm taking. This class is tough. And I was explaining to you, because I'm like, it says that the reading assignment is 10 minutes, but it's 24 pages or some shit of a book. And it is from MIT. It's so the class is, it's taught by MIT, which is a big school. This is no joke. And then our paperwork, our literature is from Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
This is not a fucking game.
It's good stuff though. It's interesting. Yeah.
And it says this is supposed to take 10 minutes or 20 minutes.
Miguel comes to me.
And maybe for a fucking MIT student or a Harvard Business School student, it takes you 10 minutes to read it. But I'm 2.5 hours in, and I'm wrapping this reading up, and then I'm like, what the fuck did I just read?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm taking this class, and I know at first when we started, it was this is more than we can handle right now. And I mentioned it a couple episodes ago.
I'm like, are you sure?
Fuck it. Jeez. Let's do it.
We'll figure it out. That's what he tells me.
I tell you all, and I say it on here all the time. We are more capable than we think we are. And on top of that, now, because of our podcast, because of my travel, because of my school, now Sonia's been helping me with the school. We've been kind of doing it together. And when I get stuck, we bounce ideas back and forth, and then we can finish it up. So it takes 2 of us to do what one person, could do by themselves if you were actually qualified for this shit. But anyway, it's hard.
Yeah.
But the thing is that one thing that I know is that one way or another, we'll fucking figure it out.
Right.
And at the end of this course, when we look back at it, it's like, you know what? It's over.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Right.
And we did it.
What I love, and just being very honest and transparent, that you give me that extra oomph that I need to continue to push through, because, you know, the podcast, we're not getting paid for the podcast right now. Okay. We're not getting paid yet.
Hey, we made $17.
And let me tell you, when we first started, I knew that when I would want to quit, that you would not. You're not going to let me. You're not going to let me. You're going to be like, get your ass up.
Dude, if you're in the bed,
let's go.
If you're in the bed, I'm going to fucking set up lights in our bedroom and I'm going to throw you a microphone on the bed. I'll be like, start fucking talking. Let's go. We got episodes to record.
Because Miguel is that. He is my military. What is it? It's
fucking grind. Like, I will grind it out. Like, whatever it is, whether it's little by little, I will fucking grind it out.
See, but I don't, life, like, even though I say life has been not easy, but I've always just, like, I found a way. Like, my hustle's different than your hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have that self-discipline, and I love that about you, and I fucking hate you at the same time. When it comes to that, you know? And so with you by my side, I knew that you would not let me fail. Like, you're not going to let us fail. So I'm here with you. And even when we were running together, and I knew, like, you would, seeing you, I would want to kill you, you know, because I see you pushing through, and you just have that in you. And me, it helped me to push myself even further. Yeah. Along.
Like, my thought is always, people have done more. People have had less.
You're fucking crazy.
People have had less and done more. So what the fuck am I crying about? People have ran farther with no legs or whatever. Like, what the fuck am I crying about? Keep fucking running. Keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Okay, so check this out. So that's Miguel. That's how Miguel coaches himself.
I talk shit to myself when I'm coaching myself. So that's
Miguel. And you want to know me? Oh, this is funny. This is so funny. When I'm running, and I do not like to run. I rather jump rope. I rather push some weight. Like, I love strength training. But when we were running together, I'm like asking God for help. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like talking to God. Like, I know you built my body, you know, what's the right word? To push through, like, you know, the lungs of the legs,
your legs are burning, your chest is burning.
I know that I'm going to be okay. But I'm just like talking to God at this point. And I remember Miguel used to try to coach me, and I don't know what the hell you would say, but I'm
Let's go. But your last easy day was yesterday.
Do you remember what I told you to shut up?
Shut up.
I told you to shut up. And it's like, this is like giving birth, because our children are both home births. No meds, nothing, just straight up home births. Miguel basically delivered our son. Yeah. You know,
I did.
And I remember being in the spa, and especially with Joey, it was very difficult because I didn't train my mind, you know, to take on.
Like, you thought it was going to be a breeze.
Yeah, because that's what everybody said. And so I remember at one point, like, Miguel, you were trying to, like, help me, and I'm like, shh. I was nice. I was just like, hold me and just shut up.
I'll give you a tip for you guys. If you guys are listening and you have a similar personality to mine, don't coach your wife through her birth, because it's probably not the right way to do it. Come on, you can do it. Man, push harder, go. And then boom, the baby flies out.
But he listened. You listened. No, I tried. You were on point. You were good. But yeah, no, for sure. He's not the right coach. And so when we were running, I told him, I'm like, this is just like giving birth for me. Just shut up. I'll coach myself through this. You know, but hey, the kids were fine. I was fine after the run.
Could you imagine
you were there?
You get the guy from Full Metal Jacket to coach you through your pregnancy. What's your name, scumbag? He's like, what? You think you're the first person to give birth on the planet? Start pushing. You know?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
So anyways, I wanted, to talk to you guys about that podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's a great podcast. And I think just the education behind it, knowing that you can go from having it all to nothing and still survive.
Or the other way around.
Yep. Or the other way around.
Yeah. You were saying that a lot of the things is like people want to know what they did to get to where they're at. But a lot of things that they talk about are the mistakes that brought them down.
Yes.
You know, because that's also very important is like once when you're on your way up, or like the mistakes that broke people make, or people that have that thought process make.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Oh yeah. And his son Tom wrote a book about habits that rich people have and habits that poor people have. I want to get that book.
Yeah.
And he talks about how poor people love to gossip. Like they gossip about everything and everyone, and you know, and not only that, but they speak their mind, which I thought was very odd.
Yeah.
You know, that speaking their mind. And the reason he said behind that is because you can be wrong in many cases. And here you are just throwing up what you feel and saying everything and anything that's on your mind. And maybe you've been working on this relationship for a long time, and say you have a new idea or invention coming out. And because you decided to speak that mind to that one person, you just lost that friendship.
Lost that relationship.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's
You
huge.
know?
And I've seen it happen in my career a lot of times with different people. And Jocko, who we haven't talked about in a long time, but Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL, I follow a lot of his stuff, and we get his kids' books and all leadership books and all that stuff. But he calls it playing the game. And you would think that somebody with his kind of personality, like he's not going to take shit from anybody.
Right.
That's not the case. The thing is that when you're in a position, like let's say you have a boss above you and you feel like, hey, this dude doesn't get it, and you know what? I'm going to let them know what the fuck is up.
Right.
The thing is that you have to pick your battles, and you have to have a good working relationship with them so that you can have the power to take care of the people that you have.
Right.
And part of that is playing the game. You know, like you just kind of hang. I've had situations where I don't necessarily agree, and you know what? I have to do the best job that I can. That way, when I do bring something up, they're like, you know what? He doesn't usually bring up a lot of stuff. Maybe this is something that's important. Let me take a listen. But if you're one of these people that, you know what, man, that's fucking stupid. We shouldn't be doing that. Why are we going to do that? The company's always fucking shit, you know? Yeah. And then it's like now anything that you say, it's like this dude's always just complaining. You know, you got to play the game. Mm-hmm. And then those relationships eventually will come around.
Yeah.
And they help you get to other positions and positions of more influence where you can help more people.
Yeah. And Tom was saying that.
Do you have the book?
I don't. I want the book.
Look it up real quick.
He hasn't mentioned the name yet.
Oh, he hasn't?
No, but his name's Tom Corley.
Well, if you guys would like to pick up the book that we have no idea what the title is, you guys can search all of Amazon and pick up a couple things while you're at it. And if you're going to do that, make sure you go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You can subscribe to our show there. You can watch it there. You can listen to it. You can send us a message. If you have any questions, you can click contact us and send us a message, and we can talk about it on the show. And if you click on the support the show tab at the top, it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase on Amazon doesn't cost you anything extra, but we get a couple pennies every time you buy something, and it helps out the show. Mm-hmm. And you'll also see a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
Trust Inc. We are a nationwide mobile notary agency. We have a lot of signing agents that we work with. We do a lot of work with title companies and law firms as well. If you are looking to refinance or purchase a home and you would like to request Trust Inc., hit us up.
Yep. And if you want to go to Trust Inc. directly, you can go to trustincUSA.com. We're also affiliates with Libsyn, which is who distributes our podcast, and they distribute some of the biggest podcasts in the world. And if you guys have a hobby or a passion that you're involved with and you want to put it out there, you know, I'm sure there's other people that share the same hobby, same passions, and you can start podcasting through Libsyn. You'll get your first month or the rest of the month, whatever month you sign up in, you'll get that month for free, and you'll get the next month for free if you use the promo code OAP for Opposites Attract Podcast.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, did you talk about the shopping?
Shopping.
Amazon, you did, right? You say it so fast.
Amazon shopping, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we got his mom.
Well, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Mom.
My mom.
We love you.
And also to our little boy, Joey.
Yes.
Who just turned 9.
Yes.
So happy birthday. We love you guys so much. And we got my mom this
super cool.
So it's a digital frame. It's made by Nick's Play. We bought it on Amazon. It's a digital frame, and we're not gonna say how much it costs. You guys can look it up and buy one through our link if you want one. But it connects to Wi-Fi, and we downloaded the app. And my mom's in Florida, we're in Arizona, and you could be anywhere in the world. You download the app, and then you can send pictures, and they transfer to her.
Yes.
Picture frame. It's a 10-inch picture frame.
Do you know what that replaces?
Yeah, I know. You were just talking about making like family albums.
Photo album. Yeah, like
and it'll play
does.
It'll play pictures, it'll play videos, and it just kind of scrolls through it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
and it's got all kinds of settings where it'll play the new pictures first or whatever. I mean, we don't have it, so my mom knows better than anybody.
She was super excited though.
We were too.
We did good. Yeah,
like,
I'm excited that she's excited.
Like we're excited for your gift because now we're gonna send you pictures from time to time. Like, hey, we're doing this.
Yeah,
you know,
our babies are her only grandbabies, so you can imagine how spoiled they are. You know,
so cool.
So let's get back really quick because there's something else I wanted to finish through Tom Curley. Through his book, I was talking about his 7 habits. Oh, he was talking about that when he wrote the book. I think it's seven habits that rich people. I don't know. I got to look it up. Anyways, he was talking about that. Holy shit. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so he wrote this book and he's never written a book before. And he said it's just like a business. He's like, it's
writing a book?
Like a business because you have to market it. You have to get it out there for people to read.
Yeah.
And he said that he started using Twitter and that he put up thousands and thousands of tweets and still nothing was coming about on this book. This book was not moving. And he said all it took was one influencer to give him a shot.
Nice.
Just one.
Yeah.
And that's when it started to move. I started thinking about like our podcasts. You know, like I started to think about, you know, how, and he said that he was working backwards because some people do that. They write a book, but they don't have any followers on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere. So they're starting backwards. When most people, they'll build a network, right? They'll build a network and then write a book. And I'm like, holy shit, that's what we're doing. So we're not working backwards. We're actually, because he's saying, you know, if anything, start to build a network and then
you market
write
to your
a
audience.
book. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that there gave me some hope for us. No.
Yeah. No, well, this is the thing though. If he didn't put in all that work,
that's what he was saying.
Influencer is not going to give you shit because you haven't proven anything.
Yeah.
It's like right now, like let's say you look at how far we've come with our podcast. Okay. It's not a huge podcast. It doesn't have like all the millions of listeners and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And you guys are here in the beginning. We really appreciate you guys for that because, you know, when this thing takes off, it's going to be one of those things where like, oh yeah, we listen to that. Everybody, you know, a lot of people listen to it if it gets to that point. But, you know, whatever. The thing is that if you don't put in that work, the influencer is going to look at what you've been working on and they're going to be like, oh, this dude's full of shit. You know, he talks a big game, but he doesn't have anything to show for it. Where if you look and it's like, wow, like they haven't had the success that they should be having with all the work that they've been putting in. Now, if they get this little bump and they continue that work ethic, it's just going to start snowballing now.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get that opportunity unless you've been putting in that work. And that's the thing is that when people get that little push, that's when a lot of other people are like, oh, look at that. You know, how lucky they got hooked up with so-and-so and they took off, right?
Yep.
But they didn't see the hundreds of episodes and the hundreds of videos edited and the hundreds of social media, the thousands of Twitter posts that he posted.
Yes. Thousands upon thousands.
But I can guarantee you that before that influencer did any business with them, they went back through their history to see, and they were probably like, wow, this dude put up thousands of tweets and not one retweet, not one like, not one anything, and he still did it.
Yeah. So the book is called Rich Habits by Thomas C. Corley.
Go through oppositesattractpodcast.com to pick up a copy today.
That was good. That was good. But no, I'm very interested in reading this because, I want to, the more. Oh, he said, another thing he said is if during writing his book, what he didn't know how to write a book. Yeah. He didn't know where to start. None of that. So what he said he did was he purchased 3 books. 3 books that
through oppositesattractpodcast.com
that explained how to write a book.
Yeah.
And he's like, if there's something that you want to do and you don't know how to do it, purchase 3 books. And he said one of the habits that rich people do is they read 30 minutes of a personal growth, like a book that's going to help you become better at whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I'm like, well, I think we're doing pretty good with that. I mean, we do audio.
Yeah, we do audiobooks. And we're always looking stuff up. And it doesn't have to be only books. There's YouTube video. There's tons of YouTube videos.
Yes.
There's, if your company pays for school, take some classes. There's audio, like you're saying, there's audio books. There's articles that you can read. There's all kinds of stuff.
And he said he never thought that he would be a good writer. And he said this opened up that door, and he's like, I am a great writer. He's like, I can honestly say I'm a great writer. And I had no idea that I would be this good of a writer.
Yeah. So let's that kind of segues into something else that I wanted to talk about, which is funny because we were talking about the class that I'm taking. And so my last assignment, I wrote this paper. And there's a couple things about this paper, but one of the comments that I received, they said that I wrote it like like it was so easy to, like I wrote it in such easy,
like an easy format,
like not an easy, like the language was just easy to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, I'm trying to punch this thing up to make it sound as good as I possibly can. Yes. Like I'm replacing with the thesaurus, like replacing words to make it sound, smarter than I actually am. And this dude's like, thanks for dumbing it down for everybody to be able to read it. I'm like, great. Well, fuck it. I don't care.
Because some of them that we were reading, I'm like,
what the hell are they?
What? Yeah. Can you please write in English?
Dude, I have one, what is it? Like a phrase that I throw into all papers that I would write because I got it in high school. Like my English teacher told me, he's like, whenever you start your last sentence, he's like, a lot of people will write in conclusion and then they write their paper.
Yeah.
He's like, always, and this is something that just stuck. He's like, always start the last paragraph of your paper with, in the final analysis, one can infer. He's like, it makes it sound so much better than in conclusion. I was like, oh shit, that sounds really good. Yeah. Every paper I've ever written since then, the fucking first sentence of my conclusion. In the final analysis, one can infer that, and then you kind of summarize whatever you wrote.
Right.
And it sounds better. But anyway, that's the only fucking phrase that I have like that. The rest of them, I throw in like per se or some bullshit to try and make it better. But
oh no.
The other thing, I felt bad, but I messed up. So we're researching doing business in Asia, right?
Yeah.
And that's what my scenario says for this paper. It says, you're going to be doing business in Asia. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I start researching doing business in Asia, like cultural differences and all this kind of stuff. And I read an article about doing business in China. And I start writing my paper about doing business in China.
Yeah.
And MIT has a lot of Asian students and a lot of the people that are grading our papers. So our peers grade our papers. And I start writing this whole paper about doing business in China. And nowhere in our scenario does it say doing business in China. It says doing business in Asia.
Yeah.
And immediately when I started grading somebody else's paper, I'm looking at it and I'm like, how come they haven't wrote anything about doing business in China? They just keep saying Asia. And I go back and I read and I'm like, oh shit. Like I fucked up. Like I wrote a whole paper about doing business in China. And I was worried.
He was so upset. Like you were so upset.
I was because, I mean, for one, like this is not an easy class, So I'm putting a lot of effort. Like my 20-minute fucking reading takes me 2.5 hours, and a paper that takes somebody maybe 45 minutes to write takes me a couple hours also.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the thing is that I felt bad because I do understand Like that is one of the most stereotypical things. Like they tell you, hey, write a paper about China, Asia, and you just write a paper about China. It's like, well, motherfucker, there's a lot of countries in Asia, not just China.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like, and I know better. I grew up in New York. You know, I grew up in New York in Flushing, where it's primarily Asian. Yeah. And I have friends from all over. So anyway, so I write this paper, and they didn't grade me too harshly on it. Actually, I got a really good grade.
You did well, and I was so glad.
Somebody called me out on it.
Yes. Two people called you out, didn't they?
No, it was just one, but they didn't leave their name because I wanted to send them something because I think they were probably Asian, and I was like, you know, I'm sorry. And being Hispanic, living in Arizona, people assume I'm Mexican all the time.
Right.
I don't have a problem with it. I love Mexicans, right?
Yeah.
So, so I wrote.
You act more Mexican than me.
Yeah. Where's my music at?
You talk.
It's okay. So now we're gonna talk about the assignment that I mess up. So I write the assignment. I write it in English. My English is not so good sometimes. But no. So I wrote an apology, and I put in there. I was like, I grew up in Flushing, New York, where it's mostly Asian. I was like, and then I put in parentheses, like I didn't want to like just write, I have Asian friends, you know, because I was like that. And I put in parentheses in my apology. I was like, I know this sounds like something who has never had an Asian friend in their life would write, you know?
Right.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
It's okay, babe. It's okay.
But it worked out. It was good.
It's okay. Yeah.
I thought I messed that thing up.
Yeah. So speaking of having everything and losing it.
Yeah.
Dude, what about Schitt's Creek? How do you?
Oh, that's a good show on Netflix. Also, Schitt's Creek. It's freaking funny.
Yeah, it's very similar.
It's about a family who was very well off, and what was it, like taxes or some shit that they came and they weren't paying, or their accountant wasn't paying taxes.
Took off,
and they came and took everything from them. So they went from. Like the husband he was in business or something.
Yeah.
And the wife was an actress. Yeah. The kids had everything they could ever want.
But the family was tore up. Like they had no idea what each other was doing. It was like a very rich family, but not connected.
It's a funny show. And they're only like half-hour episodes, so you guys can just watch a couple. But man, that family is a shit show. It is funny.
It's great. Entertaining.
Yeah, the wife is like an actress and she's always acting fucking weird, and the son, he's funny. He's funny as shit. He's gay, and he has in this part, like he met somebody, but just his facial expressions and the way he acts is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, that's another show you guys should
Schitt's Creek.
Check out Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
But they're coming back. You know, they lost it all and they're working at coming back.
Similar story.
You know, if this COVID crap has taken down your business, you just do what you do and rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of small businesses that are no longer in business because of this pandemic.
And the other thing is that you have to reevaluate, how we do business.
Reinvent. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Reinvent. Yep.
So,
you know.
The other day, we've talked about it on this podcast, how you just show up with free shit all the time. From your your clients or where, and it's not even from your client. Wherever you go, you make friends with people and they give you free shit. And the other day, I'm sitting here working and I get a phone call from you because you were out with, I don't know who you were out with. Was it Audrey or Joey? You guys had stopped by for
Audrey.
a bike ride.
Audrey, yes. It was with Audrey. We went bike riding early in the morning. It was like 7:30 when we left, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know if I was working or I was off. But you call me and you're like, "Hey, what
PlayStation or
what game system do you have?" And I'm like, "It's really old. It's probably not what they have." And I was like, "It's a PlayStation 3." But the thing is that when you went and met this lady, was she having a yard sale or no? She had stuff out for donations, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, we have these games," and she's telling you that. Yeah, it's probably not what he has because it's really old.
And I'm like, this is it.
She's like, as soon as she said it was really old and this is probably not it, she's like, that's probably the one that he plays on.
Yes, yes. And sure enough, I call him and he's like, he's like, yep. I'm
that's
like,
the one.
Oh, cool. We got some free games and some microphones.
Came back with more free shit.
Right? Yep. Yeah. No, it's super cool.
It's funny because you call me and I'm like, it's probably not it.
Right.
And it turned out it was.
Right. So Adriana, we've mentioned before, she's becoming a little young lady, and she's going through her emotional changes, right? And it's so crazy how different men and women are. Like,
Yeah.
totally different.
Like with the whole penis and vagina thing.
Yeah, just everything. We go through a lot more shit. I don't get it. That's why I'm like, God has to be a man. You know, God has to be a man, because if God was a woman, there's no way we would go through everything that menopause, you know, you go through all this crap as a woman, and you men, you know, it's like when we age, it's totally different.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
you
a
guys
double standard.
age and you guys just look great. You know, the older you get, the better you look. Us women, we're like, what the hell's going on here?
Hey, there's some hotter older ladies too.
Yeah.
They're not like, yeah.
But with men,
And
you know,
you're doing great.
well, thanks. You got to say that. No,
I'm just saying.
kidding. But anyway, so my poor baby, okay, she's in the kitchen and she's about to do dishes, and you know, I see her and she looks like she's about to start to cry, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she kind of hides, you know, like kind of just moves away so that I don't notice that she's about to cry.
Yeah.
And she's going up towards her room, and I asked Joey, I'm like, hey, what's going on with Audrey? Her stomach hurts. And then Audrey heard him, and she's like, no, my stomach is not hurting. And
No.
then he asked, why are you crying? And she's like, I don't know. And she starts running upstairs. And Joey looks at me and he's like, Mommy, how does she not know why she's crying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, baby, girls are crazy. Like, baby,
He just
girls
doesn't
are
get it.
crazy. You know, sometimes we just cry and we don't know why we're crying. And he gives me this look like,
She's like,
Like,
yeah.
what?
He has this look when
a
he
confused.
like
Yeah, he tilts
gets
his
confused.
head.
He won't say anything. Like his eyebrows kind of go up, and he just kind of tilts his head to the
Yes.
side. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. He's probably like, so she's not in pain.
Right.
Her toys aren't broken.
No.
She's just crying.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't get it.
And so she comes, but okay, that's not the end. So she comes downstairs and she's happy as shit, singing and dancing. And he looks at her.
How long after?
10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. I'd say 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Comes down.
Smiling,
dancing and singing. And he looks at her like, were you fake crying?
Yeah.
He asked her that because.
That's the only explanation.
Yes. And she's like, no. But the reason why he assumed that was because she's teaching him.
And then he's like, he's confused again.
Right.
Because he's like, so you weren't fake crying,
Right.
but now you're happy.
Right. Like,
And you don't know what you were crying about.
Hell? Yeah. I'm just like, baby, girls are crazy. That's what I told him. Girls are crazy.
Yeah.
But
That's a
the
good
reason
introduction to
why,
girls.
Right? The reason why he thought she was fake crying because she's teaching him
I don't know where they got
how
that
to
from.
fake cry.
They were looking something up, and they're trying to learn how to fake cry.
Well, no, she's teaching him how to fake cry. She says she can't do it, but she's teaching him how to do it, and he picked it up really quick.
Dude, the other day
he's really good at it.
Dude, he came down the stairs and his whole face was red. You could tell he was crying.
Yeah, and he had tears.
Yeah.
He had tears. And I'm like, what's wrong, baby? Like, I'm, oblivious. What's wrong, baby? And he starts to cry, and Audrey comes and she's laughing.
Yeah.
I'm teaching him how to fake cry. I'm
And
like,
we're like,
what?
And he starts
Why
smiling.
are you teaching him that? And she said, no, Mom, this is a good thing. Because if I teach him how to deal with his sadness, then I can teach him how to handle his madness.
Yeah.
That's what she told him.
Dude, and when you said that, when you think about it, I was like, damn, that's pretty good.
That's my daughter. That is my daughter, you know?
Because in the videos, they talk about, like, how do you fake cry? And I haven't watched the videos, but they were saying that you have to think of something really sad.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing, I don't know if that's why we were talking about our dog getting zapped or being cremated on the last podcast
God,
when we were at the table. Maybe that's why they were asking. about it.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
And maybe we helped by telling him about cremations and stuff. He's like, wow, that's fucked up. That's kind of sad. But yeah, he
would think about our dog.
He would think about our dog.
Passed.
Yeah, and when to get himself to fake cry. But that's crazy because she's like, yeah, if he can learn how to deal with his sadness, then maybe this will help him with his madness.
Yeah. But it was funny,
so funny
as shit. And
but
I
it's
just
true. That was freaking good.
Up laughing. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Like for her to already be thinking like she's ahead of it, you know?
Yeah.
And she wants
for her to put that together.
Him. Yeah.
That's cool.
Because even though, and I know, like it does affect the energy in the house. It does.
Yeah.
And it affects, and she's a lot like me. Like she's very in tune with her feelings and the way you guys feel, it does like we feel it, when you're upset or when you're angry, and she does get upset. Like whenever, like when you were going through your issue at school, you were pissed off. Like you were upset, and I left. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I needed to be alone for a minute.
I'm leaving because it's starting to affect me, and I could see that it's, you need time. You need time. So I went upstairs and I left you alone, and then after a while, you just got yourself together.
At a certain
point,
point,
you were good, but your morning was rough.
It.
You were not excited. You're cleaning the pool. You're just pissed off. And I was so glad that you got a good grade because you did really good. Like the paper itself was really good, and you made one mistake.
Yeah, but I put a lot of effort into it, and I thought my grade was going to suffer. And there's not a lot of assignments in this class, so I don't have a lot of room for error. Like if I out of 4 assignments, you fail one, you may not pass the class.
Yeah, but 2, that's a great lesson on just it is what it is. You messed up, let it go, because you never know what the outcome's going to be.
Well, and that's what it was at a certain point. I mean, it did affect me, and it kind of bugged me, but I said it out loud at a certain point. It was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I get like, all right, let's just move on. And you know what? And part of it is the grind. Part of it is the work. And I'm like, fuck it. I have so much shit to do that if I keep focusing on this, it's going to fuck up all the other things that I have to do.
Right.
So I just, you know what? Fuck it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do now.
Yeah. Because, there's certain things you can control and other things you can't. Write that down.
Thank you guys for being with us. Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You guys can send us a message through there if you want to get a hold of us. If you guys want to give us a call and send us a voicemail, you can call us at 480-912-5128. And thank you for being with us wherever you're listening from.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for sharing our podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, we appreciate you. And until next time, bye.